Notary Ninja's back. So let's talk about the National Notary Association. Let's talk about some secrets that you may not know about the National Notary Association. Maybe some stuff they don't even want you to know. Ooh, hang in there. All right, Notary Ninja back. Things are booming. Got this agency. We're going from statewide to nationwide. Let me show you what that looks like a little bit. Give you guys some insight on that. Then let's dive right into the National Notary. So I did a video a while back where I was showing you kind of some of the ad metrics that we were using as kind of like a behind the scenes. But one of the big things we've done is we've launched a nationwide campaign. With using the internet, and here we have, this is Google Search Console, so our main site, legal doc prep notary. We've created some agency specific landing pages, and of course it says 14,000 of them are indexed, which is good news. You want them indexed. That means they're live and seen on Google, but 60,000 remain to be indexed. So there is a bit of a what we call a lag in the campaigns. You create a campaign and there's some lag that's going to take time before it kind of really starts to pick up and we really start cranking out orders. But inevitably it'll happen. Now, what is exciting is that the report I got today, which this stuff is ever evolving. But the report I got from Google Search today was that like about 2,000 of them are first page impressions, meaning they're right at the top of Google, which is good. That's what we want. That's what we're trying to do to build a signing service. So but enough of that. Let's talk about the National Notary Association. I wrote a blog recently on Noble Legal Pros. Does the NNA, which is the National Notary Association, does the National Notary Association's background screening violate FCRA regulations? FCRA being the Fair Credit Reporting Act. I've long mulled this over. I've always kind of wondered about maybe some of the ethics around the practices that are the NNA's background screening. And, I'm not for or against the NNA. I think that they bring some good and I think they bring some bad. And so, well, we're going to talk a little bit about the bad, some of the stuff maybe some of the dirty laundry that they might not want aired, just so that you're aware of it, so that you understand, so you can make informed decisions. Okay, it's not to bash the NNA. They do obviously bring some valuable stuff uh, to notaries, and I'm certain that was their original intent of their business at one point in time. But they also can kind of find themselves participating in somewhat unscrupulous activities like their background screening that has resulted in lawsuits. There is actually, this is old news, but actually on this blog, Detroit Signing Agent blog, there was a report of a class action lawsuit that they had settled. National Notary Association, in conjunction with Sinex, was found to be violating Fair Credit Reporting Acts in their background checks, and they had a class action lawsuit against them that they ended up settling and, of course, paying out up to the tune of 250 per person who was involved in that timeline. So the specifics of that I'm not going to go into, other than the NNA does do a background check on you, and of course, the purpose is ideally to maintain integrity in in the world of notaries or notary signing agents per se. But these background checks, of course, apparently weren't subject to dispute or further disclosure when they came back, with issues. And again, I have a background check through them. Haven't really had any issues with that, but I've had notaries come into my airspace that have said that they were, their background check was flagged for like speeding tickets and stuff like that. And it doesn't really seem right to me. I personally will hire a mobile notary for a service, regardless of their stature with the NNA, as long as they're in compliance with their state. Now I know that some signing services, absolutely not. You can't do anything with them unless you've got a solid green light from the NNA. Now I will, because of that, because I take that stance. I don't just carry errors and omissions, a large amount of errors and omissions, but I do carry general liability insurance as well, just in case something like that. There was going to be an issue with a notary. I do have some, that insurance in place, but I do feel like we don't want to shun anybody from being able to take assignments from us because you somehow got flagged. Maybe it's speeding tickets or something ridiculous. And I don't know if that's a set in stone criteria. Like, to be honest with you, I don't even know what all they're searching, which then in itself is a bit of a mystery and a bit of a call. It kind of calls into question some of their screening criteria. But so I wrote a blog about it. Do they violate them? Well, they had in fact in the past, and again, their intentions may be good on the outset, but then as we pull back the veil a little bit, we can see that they have in fact on occasions had notaries penalized because of the results of these screenings and without the ability to contest or without some informed process on that. So that is something worth looking into, considering taking into consideration. So the National Notary themselves, they do have, once you get a background screen, of course, they want you to get a membership. I don't really much see a benefit to that. Their claim is that you can, have access to them 1-800 dial the NNA to ask them for advice or whatever. I personally can't say that I've ever had a good experience with them on the phone, especially in my initial years when I actually uh, had membership with them and probably could have used their hotline. It just wasn't as available or as functional as it was intended to be. The other thing the NNA does, aside from, they offer insurance and bonding and supplies, aside from the fact that these aren't really necessarily, uh, good prices, they, there's more competitive resources out there. Now, I will tell you that my slim pocket stamp, I get it through the National Notary, not to do with the price or anything, but I have my slim stamp because theirs is actually the nicest one. For quality wise and size wise, I like their slim pocket stamp. So, and the other vendors that make a similar product to that, it's actually inferior. So I can admit that there are things and there are reasons and advantages to using them, and there's some that aren't. One thing that's particularly unusual about the National Notary is they have the signingagent.com, and this is where they kind of profile and database all the notary signing agents that have gone through their training and through their background screening. And, they're kind of in here to where they could be searched and looked up, but this, while you can publicly access this appears for all purposes not to actually be indexed or to be showcased or to show up in like native searches. And so it doesn't really benefit the end notary as much as it could or should. What is their reason for doing that? Well, I don't really know, but I'm just making you aware of that this is why when they tell you you get listed in signingagent.com, it's not really that much use to you. Somebody has to know it's here, know it exists, and know to go look for it otherwise. So there you have it for today. The National Notary, not necessarily everything that they're cracked up to be. Like every other business, you have to kind of take everything with a grain of salt. All right, we'll see you next time.